get to the Final Four with a great comeback, and our guys rose to the occasion. Very, very proud of them. Very happy for the University of Miami, our students who support us tremendously, our community in Coral Gables and in the city of Miami. So we're looking forward to heading to Houston and playing a great UConn team.
All right, folks, we're going to head into questions now. Again, please use the hand raise function and wait to be called on. We'll start off with Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald. Michelle?
Hey, Jim. Congratulations again. I'm getting ready to board my flight. Can you just describe a little bit what the scene was like in the locker room, the bus, and on the flight back? Was it a quiet flight back? Was it a celebratory? Just kind of what's it been like from the time you left the arena?
Well, I'll start with the flight back. It was delayed 2 hours, 2.5 hours. We didn't really take off till 10:30, 11 o'clock, and that was Central Time. So the moment the guys got on the plane, they immediately went to sleep. You know, there was not a sound being made. But in the locker room, that's a different story. In the locker room, it was one of jubilation. They were hugging each other and just enjoying the moment and celebrating as not just individuals, but very, very clearly as a team, enjoying the moment.
We'll go to Tim Reynolds.
Jim, congratulations.
Thanks, Tim.
Jim, you've said a couple of times in the last couple of weeks that Jordan's the most underrated player in the country. I'm curious why you think that is, and if you could indulge us into how you got on his radar in the first place, how this marriage of Jordan and Miami ended up happening. Thank you.
Well, Jordan Miller, like a lot of guys, entered the portal 2 years ago, and Clutch, one of Coach Courtney's really good friends from childhood, called him and said, look, I don't know what you're looking for, but this kid, Jordan Miller, who plays at George Mason, I think would be someone you should really look at. So Coach Courtney did some research, got me on the phone with him, and, I just asked Jordan to ask the people at George Mason, what kind of coach I am and would he fit in my program. And a lot of them told him, yeah, you should go play for Coach L. I was so impressed with him as an individual. The basketball ability is one thing, but his personality, his work ethic, his basketball IQ, it made me feel like, okay, this kid will fit in really, really well. I had no idea he was this good. When he was a junior last year, or a fourth-year junior, he fit in beautifully with the team, but he wasn't really what I would call a go-to guy. We had Cam McGusty and Isaiah Wong, Charlie Moore. Our guards really ran the show. Jordan and Sam did their job very well in helping us get to the Elite Eight. But after the season was over, and I sat down and talked to Jordan before this season began, I just said to him, your role is going to completely change. We're going to expand it. He asked me one question. Hey, if I get a defensive rebound, can I push it in transition? Can I, dribble it up the court? And I asked him one question. Are you going to turn the ball over? And he said, no. I said, then you can do it. The only thing I don't like is when big guys handle the ball, front court guys, whatever you want to call yourself, the fourth guard in the start lineup, just don't turn it over. Don't make mistakes, and you're good to go. And boy, he had a 7-to-1 assist to turnover ratio in the summer and the fall. When a guy can handle the ball and make shots the way he does, he's underrated because he's under the radar. People just haven't seen him and understand how good he is. I think he showed the country how darn good he is these past 2 weeks.
Go to Matt Shodell.
Hey, Jim. So I was curious about this. The football team always sort of branded that us against the world. You guys have sort of picked that up with a different slogan, don't pick us. Do you get the sense that the team does indeed thrive on that underdog role, which you are again, at least based on some people, and proving people wrong? And is that something you ever talk about with the team specifically?
No, I never really talk about that. Maybe once in a while I'll bring it up, that the experts don't think, we're as good as we are. But the fact of the matter is, I think what's motivated this team so well is that our two senior starters from last year, Isaiah Wong and Jordan Miller, have preached to the team all year long. Look, we're good enough not just to get to the Elite Eight, but get to the Final Four and really compete for national championship. So, I greatly believe in the 7 habits of highly effective people. So the first habit is be proactive, and that basically means plan. You got to put a plan in place. So we did. But the second habit is begin with the end in mind. Well, what that means is you got to have a goal, a vision of where you're going. It's like putting in your GPS, your destination. And I think we put in Houston as our destination. That was going to be our roadmap. Thank goodness we don't have to drive it, though.
Yeah. We'll go to David Teal.
Jim, congrats.
Hi, David.
Yesterday at all, did Coach Holland cross your mind in that phone message that you received when you returned from your honeymoon to come work at Davidson?
You can't imagine how many times I thought of Coach Holland. David, you will know this, but 2 teams that we played at Virginia in 1984, we beat Indiana in the Elite Eight, and then we've had to play Houston and Phi Slamma Jamma in Seattle. This year, we beat both of those teams, Indiana to get to the Sweet 16, and Houston to get to the Elite Eight. So I thought about Coach Holland a lot. I remember what he said to me after the Houston game, because we lost in overtime. He said, dang, we should have been in the championship game. So he was a great mentor to me.
Go to Mike Cunio.
Hey, Coach. Just curious what the next couple of days are going to look like for you and the team, not only preparing for UConn, but also keeping an eye on FAU and San Diego State.
Well, first of all, I told the guys we need our rest. Like, we didn't get in until 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm still exhausted right now. I have a sore throat. My staff is working diligently in preparation for UConn. We're taking today completely off. We'll practice briefly tomorrow. We'll shoot on Wednesday and really begin our preparation for UConn on Thursday and Friday. It's a very different environment in the Dome. We got to get used to that. We need to practice there and get comfortable with that.
We'll go to Christopher Stock.
Coach, can you explain maybe what Isaiah Wong has meant to your program? He stuck around after a couple years ago, but just to see it through, not everybody did after that a couple years ago.
Yeah, Isaiah is just amazing. I've said it over and over again. Since he's been here, that's 4 years. He's never had a bad attitude day or a bad effort day. His work ethic is beyond belief. His attitude is always positive. I love coaching him. I love being around him. He is a sweetheart. He's earned everything that he's gotten this year, Player of the Year, All-American. I'm just thrilled for him and his family. His family is very supportive as well.
Tom D'Angelo. Tom, we can't hear you.
Hi, Hal Habib sitting in for Tom. Coach, first, thanks for taking the call and congratulations on making the Final Four. I wanted to ask you just about geographically. I know you're focused on your team, but the fact is two schools within 52 miles of each other are going to the Final Four. What do you think that means to this region and the significance moving forward for the basketball world here?
Well, I got a very thoughtful and nice text from Dusty May right after we beat Texas yesterday. And I immediately texted him back. And I think it's wonderful for our region. You know, I think everybody recognizes that the state of Florida, and especially like the city of Miami, Fort Lauderdale area, is great, absolutely great and fertile territory in football and in baseball. But we've also produced some very good basketball players, and hopefully now some of the young kids who watched us play in the Elite Eight, watched FAU win, advance to the Final Four. Hopefully some of those young kids will pick up the round ball and start bouncing it and shooting it. And there'll be some great prospects. There's already some terrific prospects in high school right now, guys who are McDonald's All-American types. And I'd like to see that number grow.
We'll go to Joe Aruda.
Hi, Coach. Joe Aruda for the Hartford Current. I was just wondering if you could reflect on, your 2006 Elite Eight win with George Mason over UConn, and just what are your first thoughts on this UConn team?
Well, the UConn team of 2006 was an overwhelming favorite because we were an 11th seed. They were the number one seed. I think everybody thought, despite the fact we got to the Elite Eight, that we had no shot because of UConn's size. And their front court was 6'9", 6'10", 6'11". Our front court was 6'4", 6'5", 6'7". And quite honestly, there's a lot of similarities now because we're like 6'4", 6'6", 6'7", and UConn is huge. So it's an interesting matchup in terms of contrasting bigs versus smalls. And that's not to say that UConn's guards are not unbelievable, because Hawkins is, one of the great players in our country. But we really start preparing tomorrow, and we'll be looking closely at what possible strategy we can employ to neutralize that size.
Go to Barry Jackson.
Hi, Jim. Besides Dusty May, wondered what other coaches you heard from in the college ranks or NBA people that was meaningful to you in the past 20 hours or so.
Well, I've heard from every ACC coach. I heard from Coach K, who used to be an ACC coach, by the way. And I got 400 text messages, Barry. I haven't been through them all. I got through about 200 last night, but we got in at 4 a.m. I slept. Now I'm trying to go back. As soon as I get off the Zoom meeting with you guys, I got to go back to work.
We'll get you off as soon as possible, Coach. The NCAA says 20 minutes minimum. So once we get to 20, we will wrap this up.
The NCAA makes rules about me talking to the media on a Monday.
That they do. That they do. We will go to Zach Krantz from WQAM. Zach.
Coach, first off, congratulations on getting to the Final Four. Can you talk a little bit about the free throw shooting from your team at the end of that game and only hitting 2 3-pointers in a game total, which had to be a shock to you when you looked at the box at the end?
Yeah, we are a great 3-point shooting team, but more, and I've said this all along, we can really score the ball in a lot of different ways. And the reason I say that is if you look at our starting lineup, you have Isaiah Wong has over 1,600 points. Jordan Miller has over 1,600. Nigel has over 1,000. And Norshad has over 1,000 career points. And Wilga Poplar's coming on very, very strong and basically a double-figure scorer as well. So we can score the ball. Free throw shooting has been a huge key for us all season long. And yesterday was an example of the guys really concentrating, making their free throws, and we only missed 3, I believe, and we were like 27 for 30 or something like that, and but we needed every one of those free throws to close out the game.
Go to Kim Davis.
Hey, Coach, it's Kim Davis with the Chalk Talk in Houston. Congratulations. Look forward to seeing you this weekend. Can you talk about what it means for college basketball? There's been so much chatter about the fact that no number ones have made it to the Final Four. Is this good for the game? What are your thoughts about that there are different teams making it?
First of all, I'd say this Final Four demonstrates the parity in college basketball right now. I think it also demonstrates the impact that the transfer portal has had on college basketball, because the transfer portal allows a team to get older very quickly. And so almost everybody in our league has a terrific transfer student. Last year, only 9 schools in the country, and we were one of them, did not have anybody transfer out. That means, what is it, 356 or 7 schools had people transfer out. Well, where are they all going? Well, they're all looking someplace where the grass is greener. And so they have found it in programs that they assimilate to and fit in well and have a significant role. Oh, but is it good for the game? I don't think we'd want this to happen every year, because I think some of the biggest reason people follow college basketball is they feel like they know the programs, not just the individuals. They follow the program, get to know the individuals. But last year you had Duke, Carolina, Villanova, Kansas. So I would imagine that's what TV would want, the blue bloods, the best programs in the history. But what you're finding with the parity in college basketball is that anybody can get there with the right combination of players. You don't have to have the biggest team. I mean, you look at us in Texas and Houston in our bracket, tallest starter was like 6, 7, or 8.
Okay, we have 2 more hands up. We'll go to those 2, and then we'll wrap up. We'll go to Deshaun Tate and then Christian Prochet to wrap it up. Deshaun?
Good morning, Coach, and congratulations on making the Final Four. As you know, you are the only coach remaining with Final Four experience. How much do you think, or what part of making the Final Four when you did in 2006 helps in this particular case in terms of just preparation and things like that?
Well, I will share with our coaches and players my experience. Not only as a head coach at George Mason, but as an assistant coach at Virginia in 1981 and 1984. The biggest difference between 81, 84, and 2006 is the arena. Now we're playing in a dome, 80,000 people at the game. The spatial relationship is different. And I told my coaches yesterday, you can scream as loud as you want. The players will never be able to hear you because of the noise, how high the ceiling is. The acoustics just don't work for communication. So it leaves it really in the hands of your players to communicate with each other because they're close enough on the court.
All right, last question, which will get us to that 20 minutes. Christian Prochet.
Hey, Coach, how's it going? Congratulations on making the Final Four. My question is, you spoke a little on the Blue Bloods not making it to the Final Four. Can you talk about the possibility of facing another local school, Florida Atlantic, in the national championship?
Well, first of all, I didn't say there's no Blue Bloods because University of Connecticut is certainly a Blue Blood. They've proven over the course of time, they've won national championships. They've had a Hall of Fame coach in Jim Calhoun. So their history and tradition is great. And you got a guy like Danny Hurley who's built that program in his image and likeness. And he's a basketball lifer, comes from a basketball family where his brother and his dad are also coaches. So, Connecticut is a Blue Blood. I think the other programs, FAU and San Diego State, They have proven that they're every bit as good as any of the best teams in the country. San Diego State beat the number one team in the country in Alabama, right? FAU's win over Creighton, I mean, it's very, very impressive, right? Their record, how many wins do they have now? Like 35 or something? They only have 3 losses. The team, Dusty May and his staff, have done an incredible job. So, you're really not playing the team whose name is on the front of the jersey. You're playing the players whose names is on the back of the jersey. How good are the players? The coaches will all do their job. How well the players will play, that's going to determine the outcome.
All right, Coach, thank you very much for your time today during a very hectic schedule. Everyone else, thank you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.